Although we often hear that North Dakota has the cleanest air in the nation, in the heart of North Dakota we burn 24 million tons of coal each year, creating toxic hotspots along the Missouri River corridor. On a calm day, you can even see the brown trail of pollution as it follows the river for miles. Every day, this haze creates toxic hotspots as it drifts past thousands of North Dakotans. All waterways in North Dakota have mercury warnings posted for fishermen. As little as 1/17 of a teaspoon of mercury is enough to contaminate a lake. Yet over 2,000 pounds of mercury each year is released into our air and water by out-of-state coal companies operating in North Dakota. Most of us go about our daily lives unaware of the pollution that our continued use of coal brings with it. A 2009 USA Today report using EPA toxic release inventory statistics showed that 85% of America's schools have cleaner air than Bismarck schools, and that 94% of American students breathe cleaner air than most Mandan school children. While pollution from the coal plants is concentrated along the low-lying river valley, the North Dakota Department of Health's monitoring sites are situated on the hilltops, above the river. Because the air quality data is averaged across the state, toxic hotspots are ignored. Farmers in coal country have seen a dramatic change in their traditional way of life.
Farmers that had water damage, when you dig a hole in the ground, you're interrupting aquifers. It pretty much destroys the aquifer. I don't think there's much chance. A lot of times, like here, our water comes out of the coal. But right now, there's very few farmers that live out. Once they've mined it, you go down here, there's thousands of acres where no one lives. Just about every morning, you'll see that brown haze, streaks of brown. That's not normal. That wasn't here when I was growing up. You're breathing that.
The 60 toxins found in pollution from coal are associated with a number of health problems, including asthma, cancer, and black lung.
Like Grandpa?
What usually happens is like what happened last night. This happens several times a week. I went to bed about 11:30, and I woke up with a bad headache about 2:30. And I had to walk around and sat in a recliner until about 5. And then I went back to bed from about 5 to 6:30. And my doctor told me my glands swell up under here so that the sinuses don't drain. And that's why I get the ear and sinus infections. I'll use these 4 drops, or drops of these 4, are they spices or odors anyway. And then you sit like this and breathe the steam in. I didn't develop any sinus or ear infection trouble until I moved back here. And when I graduated in 1975, that's right when the energy development happened. And it was the first year I was back, I had real bad sinus and ear infections.
I called the health department and had them come out and look. Several years ago when the wind was from the west, I drove through the smoke coming from the power plant, and I got pollution on the windshield of my vehicle. I drove it in the garage, and 7 days later it was still wet. Well, I had to reside my house because there was pollution on it, so I had to clean it off with pure Hilux. And before I could get one side done, it was starting in behind where it was already cleaned. If you go east of the power plant, you'll see it on the west side of the buildings, and if you go west of the power plant, you'll see it on the east side of the buildings. So why does it be directly facing toward the power plant?
I lived in Hazen, North Dakota from 1994 to 1999, and I worked there until 2002. Hazen is surrounded by 3 power plants, and the 3 years that I actually drove up there to teach, the clouds hung over the power plants around Hazen. Incident of asthma and air quality, I think, matters, is very, very high. I'd say 90% of the students there have asthma and are actually being treated for asthma.
Well, I just run out of breath. 6 or 7 stents besides the 2 heart attacks. I haven't talked about it lately because the more I talk about it, the madder I get, so I just keep quiet.
My brother graduated from UND Med School in 1997, and he did a couple of rotations, rural rotations in Hazen, a town across the river about 30 miles. And I remember him telling me that practically everyone that he worked with it was respiratory related asthma and pneumonia. And he mentioned a couple of studies he'd heard about, and one was the high incidence of asthma in children in Mercer County, and in McLean County it was a high incidence of childhood cancers.
Cancer was extremely high. Many of the students K through 12 developed cancers. I had 2 of my best friends at Hazen School who worked in the school system died from cancer. The year I started working there, the music teacher came one day and 6 months later he died. In that 8-year time frame, there were 4 young children, all preschool, that died of brain cancer from that very same community.